I mean, I'm thrilled because finally the number 9 gets a little bit more credit. Right, Alejandro?
Well, Kim's back in there, and I think he heads it out. I might be wrong. Somebody heads it out. When he tries to squeeze out, but he thinks he's playing Joselu offside. He doesn't realise that actually he's keeping the guy who's probably not even in his vision, Tony Rudiger over there. Yeah. He's keeping him onside. He squeezed up thinking, right, he's done. Joslu's done. He's offside, but that was second phase once this ball came in. So unfortunately for him, he played the key guy onside that played the ball across. Go back to the mistake from Manuel Neuer. It all comes about, well, the mistake, that's not how the mistake comes about, but the fact that he's having to make a save comes about because it's 87.5 minutes and he decides he's going to try and throw a risky ball out towards the left-hand channel. It gets cut out because he's floated one out. It gets cut out and 10 seconds later, they're back on the edge of the box. So that was his first mistake that allowed them, Real Madrid, to get on the edge of the box. Then he had to, obviously, to make a save, which he clearly should have made. He's just a huge, huge blunder, probably one of the biggest in his career when you look back at big games, at elite-level games. He doesn't make many, and that is a big, big one tonight. So, that again, that was a moment he didn't have to throw that ball out. When you look back at it, and the other side of it was, when Tuchel, and this is do or die stuff, you make the changes and you see the game out, or you make them and you don't. I never felt when he made those defensive changes that they were desperate. I didn't. No. I didn't think Bayern were... Maybe there was one or two players in the forward area that were tired.
Real Madrid looked shocked, didn't they?
I didn't feel when they brought the third centre-back on and changed the shape, thus allowing Real Madrid even more possession because there's an extra defender back in there. In fact, I think in the commentary we were watching, which was the World Feed with Stuart Robson, said they had 6 at the back. So that allowed Real Madrid even more territory and possession. Yeah, there was more bodies back. But before he made that sub and they really retreated to the edge of the box, I never felt, looking at Real Madrid, it was a guarantee. And I never felt Bayern looked desperate. But he made those changes and they didn't work.
And what happens is that once he makes those changes, and now Real Madrid score the game-tying goal, they have nothing. They have nothing in the attack. They have nothing in the midfield. They have committed fully to we're going to see it out. We're going to win 1-0. Now that we're tied 1-1, the only scenario, not the most likely scenario, the only scenario was for Real Madrid to score a second one because Bayern Munich had nothing. They had nothing in order to be able to answer. Now, I'm guessing that he's making this choice because maybe he was concerned about the fact that every time that Vini Jr. grabbed the ball and he was isolated with Kimmich, it was a mismatch. It was a mismatch, certainly in the second half, but over the course of the night, it was a mismatch. And he's thinking, well, maybe we're going to get extra numbers here and we're going to double up Vini, we're going to double up the other side, and we're going to close it down. But when you don't close it down and you have taken all your playmakers and you have taken all your creative players and the guys that can actually put the foot on the ball and knock the ball around and relieve some pressure, once you've taken all of them off the field, what happens when you have to go chase a goal? You can't.
Well, I'm not quite in that camp of blaming the coach, by the way.
Right.
I mean, we've got, 10 minutes to go? And
15 when he brought Kim.
Right, 15. So you've 15 minutes to go. You've basically been outplayed for most of the game. They're putting the pressure on you anyway. I mean, are you going to leave it as it is?
But I don't think that was the point. I don't think it was
get another goal.
I don't think it was batting down the hatches at that point. There was.
But they're running out of steam a little bit.
Yeah.
They're running out a little bit of steam, and you're going, okay. I'm going to blame the players here, because if they all did the job for that last 15 minutes properly, they would have won this game. Starting off with Neuer, throwing the ball out. What are you doing? Do what Pickford does, fall on the ground, everybody out. Go and challenge for the ball up the other end of the field. Goalkeepers can kick the ball the length of the field these days. Go and play the game up there. Again, don't throw it out. Don't drop it. Simple mistakes. I mean, stop the shot. The shot, for a start, we can blame Neuer for making a mistake, but when you've got that many bodies there, where were they all? When he comes inside and gets a shot off, he should never really see the goal. So I'm actually not too much against what Tuchel did. I'm more blaming the players.
I'm just saying they're
far more the experience they've got on the field.
And I'm not blaming a manager. I'm just saying managers make decisions. You're damned if you do. And we'd be sitting here going, why didn't he bring an extra defender on? You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. But what I'm saying is he rolled his dice. He played his cards. That was his hand. He played it and it never worked for him. But I got to give him a lot of credit in some sense in Bayern Munich, because we know Real Madrid, we've talked about them a lot this season covering La Liga. They've had some horrendous injury worries, particularly at the back. He's not really had the injury worries, Thomas Tuchel. He's just had worries.
Yeah.
He's just had worries and bad defence. I mean, Kim, who Jurgen knows very well, has been thus far a shadow of the player it was in Italy, right? He's brought in Dyer because Upamecano and De Ligt have been struggling. They end up partnering him with De Ligt. And then you've got a right-back at left-back because Davies has been out of form and has got contract issues. And Joshua Kimmich still wants to be a central midfielder. So when you look at all the things that he's had to deal with in this competition, the Bundesliga has not been good enough, but in this competition, you've got to say, actually, they did damn well to get where they got to. And actually, I thought Leimer and particularly Pavlovic, the youngster in midfield, along with Musiala, another youngster, I thought Pavlovic did a great job away at the Bernabeu for such a young, inexperienced guy. So a lot of positives, not really for Thomas Tuchel, because he's not going to be there, but just for the way Bayern handled themselves in this competition.
And the thing that they're going to regret, I believe, is the fact that in the second half, couple of sequences in which they went on a counter and it's 4v2, it's 3v1. If they just make one correct pass, they're going to the goal and they're putting it away 2-0. When you're playing Real Madrid, when it's Santiago Bernabeu, when it's Champions League, and you don't make the right decisions in the right moments, eventually they're going to kill you. Eventually they're going to hurt you, and they did it once again.
Jurgen, just going back to those substitutions, you've had it with big games as a coach. What's it like the evening after you see your team eliminated in this manner? How much are you going over those changes, those tactical changes that you made?
Well, it's a discussion that you have certainly from, I would say, minute 60, 65 on with your staff on the bench. You know, so what should we do? Should we make some subs? What if this happens? What if that happens? Now, a game like this, obviously, you got to think through even extra time. So if you make a sub now, then do you sub a player in that is a penalty taker in a penalty shootout? You know, or, you know, if you sub somebody out, you know, don't you sub them? So in terms of Harry Kane, obviously you don't want to sub Harry Kane out, you know, if you go into a penalty shootout, because it's just a 99.9% guarantee for scoring the penalties. And these things go through your mind. But I think in this moment, he thought, I see it out. You know, I bring Kim Min-jae, you know, I make it 3 center backs, you know, have the full backs anyway, and drop another one in the back line, and you end up with 5-6, you know, defending now the results, you know. But the issue is, you know, as soon as Real Madrid is coming back into this game, and let it be 1-1 and let it go into extra time, then you played all your cards, as Craig said, rightfully so. You played your cards too early, and that kind of then holds you back. But the craziness of this game today, which was so intense and tiring in a certain way watching it, was that in the last moment of the game, actually Bayern Munich had the opportunity and scored this goal that was disallowed then by the linesman. And I was screaming at home because I was screaming and said, this is a clear goal. It's a clear goal. I mean, the linesman brings up the flag. He should have never brought up the flag. It's a clear goal. And this could or should have been actually the 2-2, as crazy as it sounds. You know, I mean, I totally agree with all of you that Real Madrid, you know, especially second half, was the better team and deserves it more, probably. But these kind of games, they are always on the wire. They are always just decided by small, tiny little things. Today's game was decided by Joselu, which, you know, came from nowhere, and now made himself a name in world football.
Let's talk about that incident in a little more detail, shall we? Obviously, there's a lot of complaints that the linesmen don't raise their flags enough. Yeah. In these tight situations. He's kind of dropped the ball there, hasn't he? Like, if you keep your flag down...
Well, I saw a few instances over the weekend, again, where assistants kept their flags down with players being a yard to 2 yards off. That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
And what we had here is, as you said, we had an assistant basically making a mistake, because the directive, as it has been for quite some time, is quite simple. If it's tight, you keep it down and you play on. Now, not a lot of people like that particular law, but it is what it is. So I don't think there's any debate that there's been a big mistake here. Whether he was actually offside or onside, I can't tell you. I don't have clarification. He looks slightly off, but angles are a bit can be a bit funny sometimes with the TV cameras. So a big mistake from the linesman, but what are you going to do?
Well, we must also say that once the referee...
Sorry if I interrupt. Sorry,
right,
Ali.
Go ahead.
Two huge mistakes. First, there was two. I mean, first was the linesman. Okay, he should have not brought up the flag. But the other mistake, huge mistake from one of the most experienced referees in the world of football right now, one of the best ones, was that he actually called it then off already, instead of let the play finish. So the referee made even bigger mistake than the linesman, because he could have ignored the linesman for 3 seconds, and he did not. He whistled it, and this is, I mean, in a semi-final of the Champions League, it's unheard of.
But the referee's probably thought, he's probably thought there's a yard offside here, and that's why he's given it, and so he's reacted.
And he has blown the whistle, and so here's my point. While we think that maybe the league would have scored, Real Madrid stopped playing. Lunin doesn't even dive for the ball, doesn't even make an attempt, because once the whistle has blown, the play is dead. So we're assuming here that it would have been a goal. Yes, it is a mistake, and the sequence of events by the assistant referee and the referee himself is a mistake. But once he's blown the whistle, and now Real Madrid stopped playing, we can't assume that now it would have been a goal.
Yeah, stop assuming things.
Now we're assuming it's going to be a goal.
Yeah, I mean, you have to double in that situation. There's no other way. You got to help Joshua Kimmich. Obviously, we discussed Joshua a lot of times. He's rather playing as a number 6 than as a right back. But he's doing the job. He's trying to do it as good as possible. Playing against Vinicius Junior one-on-one is really, really difficult. So he needs help. Or is it a defensive midfielder sliding in between the centre back and the full back, which most of the cases should be, or your winger comes back and helps you out and doesn't leave you alone. So in that case, with a couple of those runs, they could have scored earlier.
That's the key, though, isn't it? The key is, do you have the personnel where you can play somebody in front of Kimmich who's going to be able to help Kimmich? Because clearly Sané doesn't know how to defend. When you see Vinny going at Kimmich, Sané's standing straight behind him. So he'd be as well sitting on the bench because he's not doing anything. So
he's run back, but that's...
Well, he's run by. You give him credit for that, but he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Right.
So you have to make a decision. Do I keep Sané on because he's going to give us some pace and he's going to give us a threat going forward, which we need to try and win this tie, or do I put somebody who's not quite as skillful, not quite as good going forward, but can defend? So it's a tough choice for Tuchel. It's not a straightforward thing.
We asked the question yesterday, previewing this match. Would Leroy Sané be willing to do the same work that Karim Adeyemi was doing for Borussia Dortmund, and doing it consistently, in limiting the touches of Dembele, of Mbappe? And the answer is, while he may be jogging back, he's not affecting the play.
Right.
And in not affecting the play, you're isolating Joshua Kimmich against Vinny Jr. And I have to imagine that Vinny Jr., when he sees who's in front of him, he goes, ha, this guy? You got to bring somebody else. He needs some help. He needs some help because he can't stop me. And he was taking him to the inside, to the outside. He was turning him around, going this way, going that way. And Kimmich is just guessing. He's just guessing, and he's getting no help. Eventually, he got some help, not from Leroy Sané, from Konrad Laimer. But in doing that, then you leave the middle open, and then it allows for Real Madrid to find some space at the top of the 18-yard box. I will say about Vinny Jr. this. We were criticizing, I think, and we talk ad nauseum about killing Mbappe. Mm-hmm. Give me the ball, right? You see that from Vinny Jr. Second half, give me the ball. I'll take you on. I'm going to take this guy on. I'm going to take that guy on. I'm going to take over this game. What Kylian Mbappe was not doing for PSG, you see Vinny Jr. do for Real Madrid. He was outstanding. Deserved a lot more out of the game in terms of the final touch and the productivity, but he was outstanding.
Even it was Konrad Laimer. It was trying to come across in the end to help out, as you do as a midfield player. Listen, you have to feel for a fullback in that scenario. Joshua Kimmich is a terrific player, but I don't think there's many, if any, would be able to stop him. I mean, I think one of the best one-on-one experienced defenders still playing the game today as a fullback is Carvajal. I think he's 34, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He gets tight, he's quick still, he's good position. I mean, I know he's on the same team, but I think even he'll play against him in training, and he'll think, I would not want to face that guy. And when he got Kimmich one-on-one, and the opportunity to go drop the shoulder, go inside or go outside, Kimmich is screwed then. Because he has to put himself in a sort of central position where he's hedging his bets on both. And once you're doing that, it's good night and God bless.
And even if he guesses the right way, Finney's got to step on him and anybody else anyway. So even if he guesses the right way, he's still in trouble.
Meanwhile, it's another final for Carlo Ancelotti, Jurgen. What's his secret?
Well, one of his many secrets certainly is his way of man management, how he guides such a big environment such as Real Madrid, all the big teams that he coached before. He's an absolute gentleman. He's calm, he's experienced, he knows the game upside down. I mean, he's such a knowledgeable coach and knows exactly what to do at the specific moments in time. So he has credibility. So when the players listen to him, they really listen because Carlo knows what he's talking about. He's not talking much. He's not a talker discussing football up and down. He's literally telling them the key things and then lets the players execute. So he's passing on basically the responsibility and the power onto his players and lets them do. But with his personality, with his charisma, with his calm style of leading such a huge club, he gets everybody behind him. And obviously the record speaks for himself. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he achieved as a manager. Unbelievable.
There was a great little thing at 1-0 when we were 1-0 down. I think it might have been his son, but it was one of the coaches come running out the dugout and was in his ear and he was doing this and he just kind of went like that. Just can't. Yeah, we're all right.
Credibility is a great word, isn't it?